Okay, welcome to SideBar, the struggle series, part 2, what comes first. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe button for me. And I'm going to tell you my testimony. And I believe that this is so important in our journeys. And so many people out there are not willing to tell their story. And they can be sitting right in the same area or space with somebody explaining their situation and struggling, and they have overcome that situation, um, and or that storm or that trial that they went through or something traumatic, and they share the same situation, but this other person is struggling with whether God is actually listening to them or hearing them or whatever the case may be. And this other person won't tell their story. And I have come across so many people. I have traveled probably maybe like 6 or 7, 8 states, and I do talk to random people. But so many people are just in their phones these days that even if they're listening to somebody tell their story to the next person, they're still too afraid to even share their story. But I want you to understand something. Whenever you decide to not tell your story, you are robbing God of his glory. And you don't want to do that, because right then and there you're saying, I'm a thief and I'm a robber, because I'm just going to rob God of his glory. And most people say, I would never do that. But when you're not telling your story or your testimony to somebody that is going through something, that's exactly what you're doing. You're robbing God of his glory, and you're robbing God of the chance to use you to tell your story so that they can get to know him. Now, my story, one of my stories I'm going to tell you, and I consider it a failed assignment, but I had got all that I needed from it, and it was necessary, and I won't forget it. It's just something when you go through some things, you just never forget it. Now, it may be a little tough for some people, but uh, hey, we here, and this is why I didn't make it into the video, because it's pretty type long, and I'm going to try to shorten it out. And after the video is all said, and the podcast video and everything is all said and done, feel free to, if you want to share your story in the comment section or whatever. And I don't know if it's going to be a part 2, but it probably will be a part 2 to this type of testimony, because I went through it 3 times, and it was 3 different situations. It wasn't the same. It's like the same scenario of being like homeless, but it was in 3 different ways. Now, from those point, because I went through that, God always had promised me that he would keep a roof over my head, and that I won't ever face homelessness again. But I do, this stems from my dad and my mom. They worked with people that was homeless as well. And it's so odd for me, because like when I was going through the situations, I have a large family, but like for some reason the enemy just got to them, and they just shut me out. And I really do believe that it is God's reason to use these situations, and why it was okay for me to just, on my last assignment, just take off despite what everybody else was saying and believing that it was just going to go bad. I was going to end up dead somewhere. And that's what they was, really speaking over my life. But I am alive and I'm well. Thank God. Now, here's the thing. So, my dad was passing away. He knew it. I knew it, because I had a dream a year before that he was going to pass away. Now, it came time, and I believe that God just told him, clip her wings. She's not going to leave you if you don't just clip her wings. And I went. I had to pack up all my stuff. I put it in like 2 totes, and I first called my sister, and they said no, I couldn't come stay with them. And then I called my friend, who her mom said I could come stay with her. Now, it's some stuff in between, but it just be way too long. That's down. Fast forward to me. I got put out the house. I was crying. I asked my dad, like, why are you doing this? And he said, I have given you all the tools that you need to go out in the world and do what you are supposed to do. I was crying. I didn't understand what that exactly mean. Now, nobody back then, you going to church and stuff, nobody was really explaining all this about your assignments and everything else. Nobody was going into that detail. It was just that if you commit this sin, you going to hell. That was the message that we were getting. So me, like many of my other friends that was in church, we actually wound up leaving church, and we were dealing with our own battles. My first assignment led me up. I wound up staying with my mom. My mom is an addict, so she was staying with somebody else. And this guy was really nice, and he allowed me to come stay with him. He got sick, and his kids decided that they thought he was going to die, so they just threw me out. My mom wound up getting locked up, and now was out in the street roaming about with me and my friend, who actually considered her like a god sister, and we was just roaming in the street, young years old. We both was 18, and she was about to, and it was winter time. Okay, it's dead winter, and it's cold, and anybody that live in New Jersey, up in Patterson, the wind, especially in North New Jersey, the wind can come off those buildings and stuff, and it can get really cold. So we up in Patterson, and we roaming about, and I didn't even understand what I was going to do, because they told me to leave my stuff there. And all I could take was like I think I had like one pair of jeans and like 3 shirts and some underwear and some socks. And I put that in my backpack, and it was like this jean backpack. And I took that with me. I took that with me and my jacket, and we was just roaming the streets. We would stop. She had somebody place to stop by. We stopped by there. We was out. I want to say shout out to this store. It was this corner store, and the guy, I guess he kind of knew, like, we were like hungry or something, because we like scraped together some change. Like, I had some change on me, because I did have like a part-time job, and I just couldn't work it anymore, because I wound up like I hurt my back at my job, so I couldn't work it anymore. So I had a little bit of change on me left, and then she's like, okay, we got something to eat. Then we traveled to this guy house that she knew, and we grabbed something to eat from there. But here's the thing, and get me for this, but Patterson has this hill. Oh my God, this hill, it's like, it make you feel like if you go up it and you trip, you're just gonna roll all the way back down it. So we had to go up this hill and stuff, and then back down this hill. And it's cold. It gets really cold at night. Then we're just still like roaming about. I'm like, where we gonna go? Now look at God, because the system wasn't really built back then for us to go anywhere or go there and tell them that we needed help. They would tell you that you had to have a baby in order for them to help us. And she was pregnant, but because she had a situation, it was taking them a little bit of time of even getting her into a place. When I tell you it was taking them like almost dragging their feet and stuff. It was like 2 to 3 months before she was actually going to be in a place. By then she would be already having her baby. So we just roaming about, and then at the same time I was just like micro praying. I just knew that, okay, I gotta, pray to God as I go along. So I was lagging behind. Whenever I lagged behind, I was just praying to God, like, may nothing happen to me out here in these streets. It wasn't like I had desire to be out in the street. I didn't do anything to cause myself to be out in the streets. So it wasn't like, so I was just praying like maybe something or somebody would call. And I gotta hand it to gotta give it to God. Like, T-Mobile was good back there with this. So they allowed me to I guess it was like I had some credits. They gave me some credits on my bill, so that's how I was able to still have my cell phone on. So then I was just waiting. It was just like I was just waiting for a phone call. I just knew, I was praying that somebody was gonna call and tell me like, hey, we looking for you. We got a place for you to stay. You could come stay with me. So it was one of those situations. I was just praying. I didn't know what to do, but we were just roaming about, and it was funny. It was me and her, and we just kept each other going and laughing throughout the day and night that it get cold. So it's like the third at night. What would happen is we would look for a place to stay. Like, there was these we would call it like, lights, and like a good neighborhood. We would, now y'all would know it's like a wealthy neighborhood, or I guess you want to say medium income neighborhoods, whatever you want to, however you want to address it. But we just call it like a wealthy neighborhood. It's like not super wealthy, but it was wealthy enough, and it's expensive, so we'll consider it wealthy. And we would go on these blocks, and we would wait to see if somebody had the lights on. And if we would see somebody outside, we would ask them like, hey, do you mind if we just warm up, stay a couple of hours in your place? So these two guys had seen us, and they were like, yo, y'all need somewhere to stay because it's cold out here. And I was like, yes, thank God. I was like, thank God. And we went over there, and while we were there, we were able to wash up and everything. So it's like 5 hours go past after being there, warming up, changing out of our clothes and stuff. And we tell them thanks. We leave at like 6 in the morning, 6:30 a.m. in the morning, after catching like a few hours of sleep, and we on the go. Now you would think, hey, these girls are on drugs or something. No, we wasn't on drugs. Now that was that was like the first night that we out. The second night, this guy hits her up, and she's like, hey, I know this guy. He's gonna be great for you. And I can't give you his name, but shout out to him too. And because he did something awesome for me. So this is the time where, everybody becoming like a stripper and everything is popping off and stuff. And we go hang out with this guy. We kind of get separated that day. And she went with this other guy, and I went with the guy that she set me up, introduced me with. They were supposed to meet back up with us, but I don't know what happened between those two that they didn't make it. And we had a meet in to get to, like, he had a meeting to get to, so he couldn't miss it. So he was like, just come with me, and he's like, I promise you're gonna be safe. And then he's like, plus I want you to see something, because you out here roaming in the streets, and this ain't no life for you. And he was like, what these girls go through on these streets, you don't need to go through. You know, you too pretty for that. So I hang out with him, and it starts at like 7 p.m. because we, for some reason, was supposed to meet back up with him like around 5, 6, and they never showed up. So he couldn't wait. We go, we meet up with a stripper and her dude, and she says the same thing to me too. This ain't no life for you. This ain't for the weak. And she's like, I wouldn't be in it, but I have my boyfriend who watches me, you know. And they're good to go. We go hang out with them at the club and stuff. We get out the club and everything, you know. She's like, you can have my ones. She gave me her single. She's like, this gonna get you back home. And I was like, thank you. Then we go to this next spot. Wasn't even on the spot to go, but he was like, we just gonna pick these girls up. Apparently something happened with that club. They throw their bags out the window, and they run out the door. Two of them make it in, that the girl jumps through the window, and we just take off. And they're just cracking up, and they're explaining how they didn't want to pay their, I guess the owner or whatever, how they paid them a piece of their earnings. And then they're like, we about to go to this other spot. Go to this other spot. It gets crazy and wild. Then this dude like walks up into me, was like, hey, what can I pay to, you know, get a dance from you? So the dude I'm with, he's like across the club, but he sees him and he runs up like on this guy, like back up. She's not a dancer, blah blah blah. He goes in on him. Next thing, it gets like 5 a.m. in the morning, and the girls just out counting their money, and then they all hand me they singles. They all say the same thing again. This is no life for you. You see what we go through, right? She's like, some days we gotta be, you know, either high or drunk to even do this, and we're doing this because we, you know, we have to or something for right now, just to get by. And they go into details and they tell me, and it's like, just please stay away from this life. So where everybody see the glitz and glamour of it, God was allowing me to see something, so that ahead of time, that I never even knew about strippers until then. My dad always protected me from stuff like that. So I didn't know there was another side of a part of this world that was dealing with things, and a life that I don't believe any woman should have to be subjected to. But I thank God that I got a chance to see that, and throughout those couple of nights, I pull up in Sunday, and I'm like, he drops me back off where I was originally staying at, and I told him I was staying there. I was like, I'm just gonna go wash clothes first. So he's like, just all right, well, hit me up if you need anything. And he's like, just do me a favor, just don't go down this route. And I was like, you got it. I left and I went to go wash clothes. I didn't want to spend all the money that the girls gave me, so I asked a few people in there for like quarters. I think I got like $2 worth of quarters to I washed one load, which all I had on me, and then I took the couple of quarters to dry my clothes. While my clothes was drying, I was outside praying to God to find a way out for me. I grab my clothes and stuff. I go in the bathroom, and I change my pants and stuff. Cause we were just out all night, and I told him I would live at that place, and I didn't want him to know I was just, you know, just roaming about. We didn't tell people we were just out there homeless. We just went, and I figured we'd catch up back at the place. I go walking back up to where I was, and the guy's like, where have you been? We've been looking for you. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, says my mom's friend name, and he said, yeah, he was worried sick about you. He said, you can go up. And I was like, thank God. My friend calls me and say, hey, where have you been? I've been trying to get in touch with you for 3 months now. He said, I had to go through all this trouble just to get your number. Where are you? And I tell him where I'm at. He's like, don't move. I will be up there tomorrow to get you. And I sat there, I cried a little bit, and I was happy. He came and got me. I got my stuff, not all of it, because the guy like took some of the stuff that and sold it for some money, but I didn't care. I knew it was mine, but at the same time I didn't care because I had like my clothes, all my clothes and shoes and stuff. That was it, and I was happy. I was like, look at God, like God came through for me in that time. Not only that, he wanted me to see a life that he never wants any of his daughters to be a part of, and he wanted me to see that I was worth way more than just a temporary moment, or having to feel like I can't count on nobody but him. Because if it wasn't for like my friend, it was for God, just I don't know what he told him or showed him, but it was enough for him to make that drive. I had went and stayed with him for a little bit, and then I went and stayed with my cousin, and from there, I stayed with, after my cousin, I stayed with one of my other male friends and his girlfriend until I got my own place. God blessed me to have my own apartment. I wasn't fully living like correct and right. I didn't know about. It wasn't like I was carrying around my Bible, so I wasn't. I just got a job and everything, and I just did what any normal person would do, work, and then I went to school and I would come back home. That's how my life went after that situation. But I never forget that moment, because even though I wasn't living right, it wasn't like I was doing something too bad either. Even though I was in a bad situation and everything, and it took some time, I just never lived with regret, because it makes me who I am today. Back then, I wasn't wearing I didn't have hearing aids, but I have hearing aids today, and I'm grateful for them. There's programs for people like me to be able to have access to these things. The U.S. can be slow in a lot of things, but there's other things that's out there, ways for you to get it, and God can direct you and guide you in that right way. That's why I say we never supposed to know between good and evil, because just think, a simple good, what you think is a good decision, can be a bad outcome. And they tell you you can never reward evil with good. It just, if you open your door to it, it will never leave your household. So I'm glad I'm able to tell y'all this story, and I hope that you can find the strength in today to trust on God and depend on God for everything. Because back then, this is probably like maybe 14 years ago, 14, 15, I want to say years ago. Oh, no, matter of fact, I'm lying to you. Wait, 19 years ago. So 19 years ago. And I pray that y'all find that strength to always trust and believe God through all your situations, because I didn't lean on really anybody else. Even in that moment, I was just saying random prayers, and I didn't even know if I was doing it correctly or doing it the right way. Nobody never told me that there was a, it's a way that you should pray, even though it was in the Bible. But like I said, I didn't have my Bible on me. And it kind of reminded me of how Jesus he said he didn't have a place to lay his head. So it's like our own King experienced being homeless. And homeless is a place where you don't have a home. And I pray that we see some type of change in this world as us saying that we children of God, that we are willing to obey and listen and follow those instructions and commands that are given to us throughout the Bible. We shouldn't treat our neighbors and them like slaves. And if we can help them today, we should be able to say, yes, I'm going to help you today. And not that you have to hold on for tomorrow. But so many people are doing that. You have the means and you're not willing to open your door. Back then, you used to be able to ask your neighbor for sugar. You didn't have to go all the way to the store. Nowadays, it's like if you ask your neighbor, you take the risk of being shot. What has this world come to? In a loving, humble King, caring King, and loving God, and we love to say it, but are we living it? Are we living like children of God? If you are, then don't be afraid to, help them out. Even if you see somebody, this is why, as well as if I know some channels, if I watch it, it may not be my pastor or anything, but I still hit the like button so that it can reach somebody else. Now, I want to say thank you all for listening. I hope this finds you in the time that you need it. And I hope that it also promotes you to tell your story to somebody else in the future, or even in the comments section. I love you all, and may heaven's army be with you all wherever you go. And God bless, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.